This July 26th edition of the MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by our Patreon. Score exclusive perks and content available only to our patrons at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. Welcome everybody to the MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Today is Monday, July the 24th. I got the date wrong. I guessed at the date then in the introduction. Total guesswork. I've been doing okay on that. I've been on a hot streak of getting the date right. Today is it Monday, July the 24th. We're going to handicap games for Tuesday, July the 25th. Easy game. First of all, I will introduce the man who is the reason I get the date right, because I used to make his life miserable by getting the date wrong every day. Scott Reichel. Scott, how are you doing?
Yeah, doing pretty well. I have noticed during the editing that you have done a better job of the dates, so I have
Thank you very much.
that in mind. I'm impressed. Doing pretty well though. Pretty relaxed weekend, and I saw the Yankees actually sweep a team. Now it was one of the worst teams in the league, but you take what you can get, you know.
I watched some of the Kansas highlights, lowlights. Man, what a mess they are.
Were you a fan of the pitch to first base when nobody was there in the final game at the eighth inning?
That was in there, yeah. It was just a what not to do. Like, it was a bit of a shambles. So, yeah. Man. And our third host tonight, he's back from his holidays. The funky wallpaper is gone. Lonte Smith, how you doing?
Yeah, man, I'm doing pretty good. Hopefully we can. Hopefully I can bounce back. Had a rough week in MLB, so looking to bounce back this week.
Fair enough. I think we got 11 games on the board, maybe 10 or 11 of the 15. Quite a lot of pitching shenanigans, as per usual. Who has joined us? Captain Insano was first in. Well done, off the mark, nice and early. Cason's here as well. Matthew, good evening, Matthew, and TVDBJ. Tardy pass for Trev. I mean, say it quietly, boys. I probably shouldn't say it at all, but I've been going along okay the last couple of days. You know, like is the saying something about scared money doesn't make money or something like that? I've heard Sean and Ryan say it a lot. But I did okay on the golf yesterday, and I mentioned when I was talking to Moonaf last night, in true DGen style, I let it ride on Baltimore last night, and Baltimore did the business. So then I had a little pot. And I went back and I watched Newcastle played. I've been covering all the sports. So I went from the golf to the baseball. Newcastle played, corners, system played. Newcastle always go over on the corners. That hit nice and early this morning, the Women's World Cup. Unders, low scoring tournament. We've just talked about that. And then back to the baseball tonight, where my first pick of the day was the first 5 under in the Detroit and San Francisco game. So, quietly, chipping away quite nicely. Brian Harvey started me off yesterday on the golf, but now the dominoes are falling, so I will probably just jinx myself by talking about it. But yeah, going along okay at the minute. So interesting slate tomorrow, a couple of good series. It's been a bit of a mad weekend as well, as per usual. Some trade talk as well. We'll mention the names as we get to the teams, but we can start tomorrow with a 6:40 Eastern first pitch between the LA Angels and the Detroit Tigers. Griffin Canning goes for Los Angeles. Erod, Eduardo Rodriguez, left-handed pitcher for the Detroit Tigers. Plus 116 for the Angels. Minus 125 for Detroit. Total is set at 8.5. Now, I like Canning. I know you weren't hugely keen, Scott, last time we talked about him, but he's pretty reliable, I think might be a good word to use. 6-4 on the year with a 4.52 ERA. He's better against the bad teams. Seems like an obvious thing to say, but it's just a fact. His walks and his home runs kind of fluctuate a little bit, so you're not entirely sure what you're getting there. But 4.25 road ERA, you get 6 innings and he gives up 2 or 3 earned runs. So pretty steady, Cannon. He never looks like he's going to blow up. And he's had some really good starts this year. The Angels are not a good road team, and as we know, notoriously hard to back as well. Eduardo Rodriguez is pitching really well, especially at home. He's 6-5 on the year, 2.69 ERA. At home is 3-2 with a 2.70 ERA. The Tigers are going along not bad. Riley Green is hitting 3.33 since the All-Star break. Spencer Torkelson is heating up. Someone pointed that out in the chat last night. Might have been Case, and I think. And Detroit won again tonight. against San Francisco, who are in a right old slump, but a decent win. Detroit 6-4 in the last 10, so a little bit better from the Tigers. And I just don't really trust the Angels. I'm going to take Erod. I'm going to take Erod's home form. And just the fact that Detroit were in a little bit of a purple patch as well, coupled with the fact that the Angels are a bad road team. So give me the Tigers, minus 125, please, Scott.
Yeah, I'm on the same page. I'll lean to Detroit. I'm also going to lean to the first 5 under. I'm not the biggest Cannon guy, but I recognize what he is. He's a pretty standard number 4, number 5 starter in a given rotation. Like, he's fine. I mean, that's kind of what he is. But I do think Eduardo's the better pitcher, and Detroit has won 2 straight. I do think that they are playing better baseball, but then again, that whole division, you have teams that have good weeks and bad weeks, and they balance out to around 500. But the Angels are a team that we know is going to also be in a lot of trade discussions for the next week or two involving Ohtani. They're probably going to keep him, and it's probably not going to work out long term. But I do think when you're looking at this matchup here, laying with Detroit isn't fun, but I think it's warranted in this case. I'm going to lay it with Detroit, but I am going to lean to the first 5. Even with these wins Detroit have gotten, they're not really doing much offensively. They've just been getting some good pitching performances lately from Faedo and from Skubal today. I'm going to go with the under in the first 5, but I will lean to Detroit to get the job done.
Okie dokie. 2 for Detroit, Lonte, team right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have anything strong, but I lean to the Halos. I thought they looked good. I mean, they won 4 or 5. All those wins were about 2+ runs. Detroit, you mentioned it, Scott, struggling offensively. 3 earned runs or less in 3 of their last 5. And they won 3 of those 5 games, actually, including today. But they're struggling against righties. They're hitting 213 against righties in their last 10. Rodriguez is pitching well. No, Mel, you mentioned it. 2 earned runs allowed in 4 of his last 5. He's also had exactly 7 Ks in his last 3 starts. But again, I know you can't help who you face, but he hasn't faced a tough slate of offenses. He faced Kansas City twice, Seattle. I mean, they play better as of late, but I don't think they're above average offensively. Oakland, the White Sox, and Pittsburgh. And Pittsburgh is in a slump. If this was early on in their little streak that they had, then I think I'd look at it differently. But I still think that Erod is a good pitcher. I don't have anything strong. I just lean to the Halos way. They've just been better form lately. I mean, I know Skubal pitched well today, but outside of him and Erod, I don't think they have much. But I think the Halos can be able to win a close game here. I think it's low scoring, so I like the under also.
6:40 Eastern first pitch is the Baltimore Orioles at the Philadelphia Phillies. Kyle Gibson for Baltimore and Taijuan Walker goes for Philly. Plus 124 for the Orioles, minus 135 for the Phillies, and a total of 9.5 for Lonte to tell us about.
Yeah, so I'm going to go to the over. Both of these teams have been playing pretty much to the over and playing well offensively. 6 of their last 10 have went over. This is for both teams. Baltimore is an over team on the road. 63%, of their games on the road have went over. As far as the side, I probably just lean to Walker at home. I mean, he has 2 earned runs or less in 6 of his last 8, 1 earned run or less in 5 of those. Now, he has allowed 4+ in 2 of his last 3, but I think he can somewhat mellow out and be somewhat in the middle. I know Baltimore's hitting the ball pretty well, but I think he'll be fine at home. I'm more intrigued by the over than I am the actual side, though, especially Gibson's been a bit up and down. He has allowed 4+ in 4 of his last 6, a solid amount of contact, 7+ hits in 4 of his last 6 also. So I'm thinking about going to the over rather than the side. Baltimore performs really well on the road. 30-18. They won 7 of the last 10. Philly on the opposite end lost 6 of their last 10, but they play better at home. So if I had to pick a side, I'd lean to Philly at home, but I'd more so play the over in this game, thinking both offenses have some success against the pitchers.
Completely agree with you, Lonte. If there's one place at the moment I wouldn't want to back Baltimore, it's with Kyle Gibson on the mound. Baltimore just keep winning. They've cashed as underdogs for me 2 nights running, but Gibson's the fly in the ointment here. At the minute, I think he's just eating innings for Baltimore. And because they're doing very well, because they're winning games, because they're top of that division now, they can kind of allow him to keep doing it. I think if things get a bit tighter, Gibson could be a casualty as well. But Walker's given up a few runs, 4-2 and 4 in his last 3 starts. So, Gibson will get hit. But Walker can give up a few as well, especially against this high-octane Baltimore offense. So, yeah, over 9.5 was my reading of that one, Scott.
I'm a bit on the fence with Walker because he has been very good lately. Last start, he was kind of hit or miss against Milwaukee. He had one bad inning, but Burns was incredible, so he didn't stand a chance anyway. But I do think when you're looking at this game, I'm going to go with Philly first 5 team total over. Probably 2.5 if I had to guess, maybe juiced, but I'd rather just blindly fade Gibson and just ignore Walker entirely. I really don't want to step in front of Baltimore, so I'm not going to do that because offensively, they definitely have enough firepower to get to Walker, and I do think he can be in line for a bad start. So I'm going to ignore him. Instead, I'm just going to look at Gibson, who I don't think is very good. And I think that Philly, once again, at home, should fare well against him. Give me Philly team total over in the first 5. I think Gibson's going to struggle.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, we're all on the same page there. I think a lot of the comments are with us as well. What you need to do next, however, is do your part in the war against corporate gambling. Sign up for the SGP Patreon. You get a ton of exclusive content, contests, and merch just for our patrons. There's a monthly SGP Stories podcast, an ad-free, uncensored show highlighting the best stories from decades of being DGens. You've got the Discord channel for our patrons. The SGPN Patreon is a great way to score exclusive perks and support SGPN. You need to get to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. Okay, third up tonight, 6:40 Eastern first pitch is the Miami Marlins at the Tampa Bay Rays. We have Edward Cabrera for the Fish and Tyler Glasnow will go for Tampa Bay. Plus 176 on Miami, minus 190 Tampa. Total is at 7.5. Scott can lead us off.
It's one of those annoying scheduling spots where you want to fade both teams in bad form or they're playing against each other, so you got to pick one. Tampa has been really underwhelming lately, but Miami had lost 8 straight. Then they beat the Rockies in a comeback win, which is embarrassing because Colorado's terrible on the road. But for the sake of this matchup, Tampa's going to be laying a decent price because you got, of course, Glasnow on the mound against Cabrera, and I think Glasnow is a lot better than Cabrera. I feel like the best play I'm going to have here is on the under because I don't trust either offense. The problem is the total's at 7, so I don't feel great about that either. But Tampa's minus 190. Do I want to lay 190? Not really. I don't really see much in this game I actually like because I don't trust either team at the moment. I think if I could find a juice 7.5, I would take the under on that instead of just taking the 7. But I see a lower scoring game between two offenses that aren't very good. I think Tampa's probably going to win, but I feel like people have been saying that for the last couple of weeks and they've lost a lot of money. So I'm just going to go with the under 7.5 and hope for the best because I really don't trust either team right now because both teams can't hit.
There is a 7.5 available at FanDuel, Scott, for you.
I'll take it.
There you go. And I know that because that is my play as well. Hard. I don't mind Edward Cabrera. His one start back was okay. Miami did snap their 8-game losing streak last night. Glasnow's been reliable. So it was a pretty straightforward handicap. You've got 2 decent SPs against 2 offenses who were struggling a little bit to put it together. So, yeah, the 7.5 it is a small number, but it's what I would take here. I'll take the under, the same as Scott. Lonte?
Yeah, I'm with you guys on the under with both teams struggling. I would rather play a more upside, so I'd take Tampa on the run line. I think it's at plus 103, 104 the last time I saw it. Just bigger variance.
I found 110.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I'll take that. I just think that, like you said, people have been waiting for Tampa to turn it on, and it just hasn't been turned on yet. But Miami also hasn't been good. They lost 8 of their last 10. Tampa just 4 of the last 5. Tampa's also hitting 222 in their last 10, so that's horrible. You mentioned Cabrera. He hasn't played many good offensive teams either. St. Louis, Seattle, Kansas City, Oakland, the Angels, Colorado, Washington. Washington, I can debate that they're halfway decent offense, but those other clubs, nothing really scares me on those. Glasnow looking better and better each start. 2 earned runs or less in 4 of his last 5. 7+ Ks in his last 6 starts. Definitely want to look at a K prop for him. Both teams struggling. I'd rather have the better team at home that's struggling. They still have one of the best home fields in the league, 36-17. So I'll take the run line, just more variance. I think they'll win 3-1, 4-0 type of game.
Okie doke. So it's a run line for Lonte. Next up is 7:05 Eastern. It is the Colorado Rockies at the Washington Nationals. left-handed pitcher Austin Gomber for Colorado. And Trevor Williams is back. All right, Trev, haven't handicapped you for a few hours. He'll go for the Washington Nationals, plus 124 on Colorado, minus 135 on Williams, and the Nationals with a total of 9.5. Austin Gomber, 8-8 on the year, 6.18 ERA, 8 wins with a 6.18 ERA. It's quite impressive. But he's been much better lately. 4-1 in his last 5 starts, 3.60 ERA. Has been home a lot. Kind of counterintuitive looking at Gomber's numbers. But his last road start was good, and confidence will be high. Williams, I think they do list him every day, and then he never pitches. He might actually pitch in this one tomorrow. 5-5 on the year, 4.38 ERA. He's occasionally okay. Has a home ERA of 4.17. He pitched okay against Colorado in one game this year. Gave up 2 earned on 5 1/3. And that's pretty much his line here. Washington have just come off their first sweep of the season. They swept the Giants.
First time season. That was their first sweep since 2021.
No way. That's outrageous.
I think it was June 2021 was the last time they had a sweep.
How is that possible?
Are you serious?
Yeah, that can't be. Really?
I saw that. I'm pretty sure it was June, but it was definitely 2021.
That's incredible.
That really is incredible.
Well,
I thought
I remember they had 100+ losses last year, and suddenly you're like, oh yeah, that's right. They're just a really bad baseball team.
Oh, you're about Colorado? Who swept? Washington swept, didn't they?
When? They swept the Giants.
Yeah, that's who we're talking about, Washington.
Sorry, it's just Giants series. They hadn't swept anybody since 2021.
Yeah. It's just when you were saying that with 100 losses, I then pivoted to Colorado, but I'm forgetting we've got 2 dog shit teams playing each other. Yeah. No, I thought my stat was okay, and then you've blown it out the water there. So the Nats, I think I say this every night as well. They can hit left-handed pitching. They're hitting 281 against lefties. I've taken the over here. 2 poor pitchers. Colorado occasionally can put back the ball. Washington are doing a little bit better lately, and like I say, they do quite like it. Hitting the lefty. So I'll take the over 9.5, but I'm not feeling great about it, Lonte.
Yeah, I'm with you. I can't get Washington right on the side, so I'll just stick to betting their overs. They hit the ball extremely well against San Francisco. They had 5+ earned runs each game when they swept. They are, I'm not a big Gomber guy, but he's not bad though. He's not terrible. 2 earned runs allowed in 4 of his last 5. He has allowed a home run in 3 straight games. So outside of that, he's been fine, but he's going to have to get that under control. Also, Trevor Williams has allowed a home run in 4 of his last 5. So that's another reason why I like the over. Both of these guys get erratic and can't locate their pitches. 8 of the last 10 have went over for Washington, and Gomber, he's allowing a ton of contact despite those decent numbers with those 2 earned runs allowed. So, I like the over, and I much rather have the Washington team total over, thinking that they can get to Gomber, and if they get to the Colorado bullpen, I think they can put up some runs also.
Okay, yeah, that's a nice angle in, Lonte. Scott?
Yeah, so I actually don't mind Gomber, who's been pretty decent for the last couple of starts. To go through his numbers, he's allowed 2 earned in 4 of his last 5.
Yeah.
So he's fine. Now, Trevor Williams is kind of the same guy, doesn't exactly go much length, but he's usually giving up around 3 or so. I'm going to go the other way on the total, though. I just feel like 9.5 is too high. For Colorado on the road, they're a terrible offensive team on the road every year, and McMahon got scratched tonight, so I'm not sure if he's going to play tomorrow, so their lineup might be even worse than normal. I'm going to lean under and just hope that one of these teams doesn't show up offensively. I think both pitchers are fine. They're not as bad as their numbers suggest, especially in Gomber's case based on recent form. 9.5, though, with Colorado on the road, that's a really high total. I'm going to lean to the under.
Okay, 7:05 Eastern first pitch. The New York Mets at the New York Yankees. Justin Verlander for the Mets and Domingo German for the Pinstripes. Minus 130 on the Mets, plus 116 for the Yankees, and a total of 8.5. Scott, interested in this one. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I'm surprised that the Mets are this big of a favorite. I understand Verlander is the better pitcher based on reputation. This year, not so much. Verlander has been bad on the road and good at home. Having said that, I'm sure Delonte can attest to it too. The Yankees never hit Verlander, ever. They just can't do it. They can't do it. They'll have one decent showing against them randomly, but for every one good showing, there's about 5 bad ones. I'm going to lean to the Mets. I actually do like the under in this game. This number just feels too high. The Mets offensively have not been great. The Yankees woke up offensively over the weekend against one of the worst pitching staffs in the entire league. I'm not going to overreact to that. 8.5, though, that sounds pretty high to me. I don't mind the first 5 under because German's been good too. But the Yankees never hit Verlander, ever. I'll go with the first 5 under.
First 5 under then for Scott. Lonte, you on the same page?
Yeah, I like the full game under. I'll take it a step further.
The Mets bullpen, I can't touch that bullpen. I can't do it with the Mets.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
I mean, they're hitting 193 or 194 in their last 10. And I know the Yankees, they won 3 straight. But again, you mentioned it was Kansas City. I think the SGPN team can probably go out and win a series against Kansas City. But they still lost 6 of the last 10, just offensively, just too inconsistent. They got to get Judge back in the lineup. I mean, they're a lot better, obviously. With Judge
took
in the
live
lineup.
batting practice.
Yeah, well,
before the game yesterday. He didn't look good. A couple ground balls against the live ball pitching, but at least he saw some live ball pitching.
Yeah. The Mets, they're not really much better either. They've lost 6 of 10. Also, they struggle on the road 23, and 29. I think it'll be an ugly game. German has had 9 Ks in 3 of his last 4, but I'm not sure I trust him enough to put my money on him. I just don't trust either offense. I mean, I know you mentioned with Verlander. I mean, he threw 6, only allowing 3 hits and an earned run and start at home in the second matchup against us, Scott. And on the road, he has allowed 4+ earned runs in 3 of his last 4. Now, again, I mean, you have to put road in quotation marks. And he has had some command issues. I watched the start. He had like 6 walks in a game, if I'm not mistaken. A lot of those were early on. Total, he had 10 walks in his last 3 starts, and that's kind of unusual for him. I'm going to go with the under here, man. I remember as a time as a kid or even as a high schooler, I would look forward to this Subway series, but now I could care less.
Fair enough. Lonte is out. It's not doing anything for Lonte, this. This would just look like a 30-second handicap for me. Neither team can hit. Both pitches are okay. Under 8.5, it was far too high. Yeah, nail on the head. Did see some Verlander trade rumors today. The Giants possibly. Oh, what the fuck are the Giants going to do with Verlander?
I heard that too. Why are they going? Like, do they think they're going to make a run or something?
It makes no sense. Yeah, see,
I heard that.
Buy 2 or 3 young pitchers and work on for a little while. Like Verlander and would they take on that 45 million or what? The whole thing's a bit baffling to me.
Well, to be fair, the Giants did try to spend a lot of money this offseason. They tried to get Correa. They did sign Arson Judge for about a day, but they didn't get
They did, I remember that. Well, the Arson Judge days of spring.
They spent a lot of imaginary money without getting anybody, and then they let Rodon walk for free, so they didn't get anything back for him either, which I still don't understand. But
they should have kept him.
I don't even if it's a matter of keeping him. They should have just, gotten something back. It's like the Red Sox letting Bogarts walk, and they didn't get anything back in return for him either. But the point is the Giants have a lot of money available, and they don't know what to do with it. A couple of years ago, they traded for Chris Bryant. Why? I don't know. They just got him for a rental, I guess. But, yeah, the Giants have a lot of money, and they want to use it on Verlander. But I also don't know for a guy that's older, getting 2 years, $40+ million a year, him or Scherzer, basically the same contract.
Yeah.
What do the Mets have to include in order to offload those contracts? A couple prospects?
I would think a haul of prospects. They would have at least a haul of prospects.
Because Verlander and Scherzer are on paper, big names, but at this stage in their careers, you got to give up something more than that.
But what the hell are they going to do with the Giants? Like, they're not going anywhere.
Yeah,
that's what I didn't understand. Like,
anything. Yeah, I don't know, man.
I know you trade DeSclafani, and I don't know what else you do from there, but that's kind of just going back to it. I heard the trade rumors for Verlander and Scherzer, and I'm just looking at the contract. Like, yeah, good luck with that. Like, I hope.
Look at the odds though. The odds have the Dodgers pretty high for both guys.
They're high on everybody.
Yeah, I did see the Giants also up there, and then I was looking at that, like you said, man. I'm like, why would they do that? And I was reading on some other stuff, and it seems like it's real though. Like they're really in contention for it. So,
well, the Dodgers have monopoly money, and they're still throwing out Grove every 5 days, so it makes sense to actually make a move for one of those guys. The Giants, I don't get because they're the 3rd best team in their division, arguably 2nd if you want to argue Diamondbacks, hit or miss. But I don't know. Giants have money and they want to spend it, and they're going to potentially waste it. So
Diamondbacks could use one of those guys.
Yeah, absolutely could. It's going to be interesting to see how it all shakes out over the next few days anyway. 7:10 Eastern, Kansas City Royals at the Cleveland Guardians. Zach Greinke for Kansas City and Aaron Savale for Cleveland. Plus 180 on the Royals, minus 190 on the Guardians. Total of 8.5, Lonte.
Yeah, so I think this is fairly simple for me. I like Cleveland on the run line. I like the team total over. Kansas City was dominated by them earlier in the month. They lost 3 of 4, and they were outscored 20-11. Cleveland's pretty good at home, 26-23. Well, actually, they're 26-23 on the run line. Kansas City is 19-31 on the run line in away games. Cleveland did cover 3 of those 4 wins in the previous series. They've also, to their team total, they've also went 5+ runs in 4 of their last 5. Kansas City has allowed 5+ in their last 3 to the Yankees, and that should probably account for double-digit runs if you allow 5+ to the Yankees in 3 straight games. And to Cleveland, they've been on a mission. 6 of the last 10, they've won and covered the run line. I mean, Greinke, he was lucky in the meeting against Cleveland. I was on Cleveland when they played. He was getting hit around. He allowed 11 hits, and I mean, they just stranded everybody on base. They only had 2 earned runs against him. He did have 5+ earned runs in his last 3 road starts, and he's allowing 7+ hits in 4 of his last 5 starts. Also, a home run in 5 of 7. So look at some Cleveland props for home runs, even though they don't hit the long ball as well. Savale's been fine. He pitched 7 scoreless innings on 2 hits in the last meeting. He had 9 Ks. I'll also look at some total outs props for him. I'm thinking that he can probably fan double digits here with Kansas City. He's also allowed 2 earned runs or less in his last 4, in 8 of his last 9. So, yeah, man, I mean, Greinke is a fave for me, especially on the road. I like the Cleveland on the run line and like their team total to go over.
Scott?
I'm on Cleveland run line as well. Savale's been pretty good, but Greinke's been a mess. The only thing saving Greinke is Jordan Lyles being on the same team. But you can look at the record that Kansas City has with Greinke. I forgot, what are they, 1-18 now with Lyles? 1-19?
Yeah, 1-18. 1-18, yep.
So they're 1-18. The Royals have only won 4 of Greinke's starts. So to do the math really quickly, what's that? 1-5, 3-5, 3-9, 3-14, 4-17. They're 4-17 in Greinke starts. So once again, it's not Jordan Lyles bad, but it's not good. But I do think when you're looking at Greinke's numbers, he's got to retire. Like I got to be honest. You're looking at his numbers, and they're competing with end of the road Keuchel and end of the road Bumgarner. That is not company you want to be in. Like, Greinke should retire at this point. It's over. No offense to him, great career, potential Hall of Famer. You're 1-10. Teams 3 or 4-17 in your games. It's over. Like, I got to go with Cleveland run line here.
Hey, if you're going to keep paying him to trot out there for batting practice, I'll lace up the cleats also and keep collecting my check.
Yeah.
Home Greinke's all right. You could just keep him in the house. And bring
they're
him
not at home, though. That's the problem.
Well, that is definitely the problem tomorrow. Yeah, this was it. I looked at this and thought, immediately, Cleveland run line, is there any other reason I can see to not take it before I have to take a bit of a deeper dive? And the answer was no. So I didn't need to take a deeper dive. And you two have just backed me up there, Cleveland run line team right. Pretty straightforward. 7:10 Eastern first pitch is the Atlanta Braves and the Boston Red Sox. This is our first off the board game. Charlie Morton goes for Atlanta, and we don't see a pitcher for Boston. This is possibly a Brian Bellows situation because he's on the paternity list. This has just dawned on me, just popped into my brain. And I don't know if they would list him officially if he hasn't been activated. So that could be it. However, he is officially TBD, and I have seen no lines on this. Scott, did you have much on this at all?
For me, once again, it's tough to handicap without knowing who's pitching for Boston, especially against Atlanta. Atlanta screwed me yesterday because I had them team total over against Tehran, and they went under. But I was undefeated with Bello, and then Oakland killed them. So I don't know what to think about this, potentially, if Bello's going to get the start. But I think I'm going to lean to Atlanta, for now at least, because at least I know who's pitching. It's the biggest cop-out answer imaginable, but I don't know who's pitching for Boston, so I can't pick them. If Bello's pitching, then I'll take Boston. But without knowing for sure, I got to take Atlanta, if that makes sense.
Yeah, actually, you mentioned in that Bello against Oakland, that was only Saturday night or something, wasn't it? That was quite recently, I think.
That was either Saturday or Friday, but he got buried.
Yeah, so it might not have been. Yeah, Boston might not win, but I do think they can hit Morton, so I've got nothing else on this game, but I thought a Boston team total, because Boston are going along really nicely. Austin Riley had that 5-game home run streak snapped last night, but Boston look more than serviceable at the moment. They've been turning quite a few heads, actually, the Red Sox. So I think they can take some runs off Morton tomorrow. Even if they don't win, I would take a Boston team total, Lonte.
Yeah, I'm probably going to be on the over for the full game. You mentioned Boston, 5+ runs in 3 of the last 4. I'm not really worried about Atlanta's offense. I'm pretty sure they can hold up their end of the bargain. 7 of the last 10 for Boston have went over. They're also 28-21, 28-21 and 1 to the over on the season at home. Atlanta's right at 500 on the road. So, I mean, regardless of who pitches, I think both offenses can have some success here. So I think we can get a high-scoring game, maybe 7-6, 7-8, or something like that.
Okay. Underdog Fantasy, let me tell you about that. NFL season is right around the corner. That's exciting. Underdog Pick'em is a great way to get down on a ton of NFL player props and is available in a ton of markets. Plus, loads of opportunities to win their daily MLB contests. And, of course, make sure to enter Best Ball Mania 4, where first place gets $1 million. Head over to underdogfantasy.com. Use the promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. That's underdogfantasy.com, promo code SGPN. Harking back to NFL and quarterback, I quite liked Patrick Mahomes' little par 3 that he had in his back garden. I don't know if you've got to that episode yet. He was building his new house. Have you seen it?
No, I got to get to that. I started it, but I kind of was doing other things, so I need to get into that. But who's your favorite football team? Do you have a favorite football team?
No. One of my things with American sports, Lonte, is because I got enough shit to deal with supporting bad English teams, so I don't need more bad teams in my life. So I like betting and I like playing fantasy sports with I'm unencumbered by all the baggage that you boys have to drag around, and that's one of the reasons I feel like I can do it without having that problem. So I try not to. People have accused me of being a Mets fan, but that's just not true. And I've got no leans to a football team at all. Like, I've been to the London series a few times.
That's a serious insult. People accuse you of being a Mets fan. Like, that's past a certain line that you're not willing to cross.
You chase you with the like angry villagers. Well, yeah, Newcastle are often seen as like the sort of a New York Mets style team that if there is a way of fucking it up, we will find it and do it.
You excited though? You got Champions League coming up.
Oh mate, I'm so excited! Yeah, the first payments went out my bank for my Champions League tickets last week,
nice. And
that made it real. Like, I was like, oh shit, the money's gone. I'm definitely going. So yeah, I'm just waiting for the draw. The draw's not till the end of August. But yeah, I'm excited for that, Scott. Right, what are we talking about? Baseball. Let's have a look.
I don't remember what part of baseball, but something about baseball. I don't know.
It is. Oh, it's exciting. 7:40 Eastern first pitch. The Seattle Mariners, the Minnesota Twins. George Kirby for Seattle and Pablo Lopez for the Twins. It's close on the books, even money. Seattle and -112 for Minnesota. Total of 7.5 or 8. I've seen a couple of different totals. George Kirby, 9-8, 3.23 ERA. Going really well. He had a bad start against Detroit a couple of outings ago. He did see Minnesota in his last start. 7 innings pitched. Gave up 4 hits and 0 earned runs in that one. Lopez is improving. 5-6, 4.22 ERA. 3.38 in his last 5. Pitched in the same series last week against Seattle. That start was 5 innings, 6 hits, 2 walks, 2 earned runs. The handicap for this, for me here, I found it really hard to split the two pitchers. Looking at the two teams, I think Minnesota are going better. They're in a better position. They are 8-2 in their last 10. They've won 3 in a row. They are 29-22 at home. They have won 3 series 3 series sweeps they've had this month. Talking about the Nationals not having one for 3 years. The Twins have had 3 this month. So in a game where the starting pitchers are hard to split, I think Minnesota are currently much more trustworthy, and a price of -112 in what is effectively a match. I'm quite happy with that, Scott.
For me, I'm going to go with Seattle on the money line. I'm going to lean first 5. It's not a strong opinion. I'm not going to bet it. Truth is, I think these teams are the exact same. They're just average teams that strike out a lot but have a lot of power in their lineup, but they never actually use it. That's kind of the main way I look at both these teams. Shout out to Gallo, by the way, who tried to bunt with 2 strikes, with 2 outs in the extra innings over the weekend, which was hilarious, which I still don't fully understand, but it made me laugh. Anyway, I'm going to go with Seattle money line. Simply put, I think Kirby's the better pitcher. I know Pablo Lopez was an all-star, so was Kirby, but Lopez's home numbers this year really not good. And it's a tricky spot because both pitchers just faced these offenses about a week ago, so you never know what you're going to expect in the immediate rematch. But I like Kirby more than Lopez, and Lopez has struggled at home this season. It's not a strong lean. It's barely a lean at all. But if you're going to give me even money with the better starting pitcher, I'm going to take it. So I'll lean to Seattle. Okay,
so we got 1 for Minnesota, 1 for Seattle. Lonte to split the tie.
Yeah, I'm with you, Mel. I like Minnesota. I mean, it's not a.
Ooh.
It's not like a great edge or anything that I have, but like you mentioned, like both of you guys mentioned, I think we all can agree that they're pretty much the same team. Like it's just that Minnesota's in better form right now.
Yeah.
And Lopez, you mentioned it, Scott. He hasn't pitched well at home. Got a couple of numbers to back those up. No earned runs versus Kansas City, but 17 earned runs combined in his previous 4 starts, and that's at home. Kirby's been really good outside of his 1 start versus Detroit. He gave up 6. So I'll lean to Minnesota and their team total over. They've been hitting the ball well, 5 or more runs in 3 of the last 5. They also went over 5 runs in 3 of the 4 in the series a week ago that you brought up, Mal. I just think Minnesota's in better form right now. I'll take them at home. They're also 40-24 as a favorite. So.
Okie doke. LG has joined us in the chat. Good evening, sir. He's asking about some Women's World Cup stuff, which is a good chance for me to plug the Women's World Cup pick show, which we'll be recording straight after this, if you can join us live, or by all means, you can find it on the usual SGPN feeds. Picks for the games Wednesday through till Friday in the Women's World Cup from me and Baz on the Premier League Gambling Podcast. 8:10 Eastern first pitch. It's the Texas Rangers at the Houston Astros. Off the board, this one, Texas TBD. I haven't seen a Texas pitcher slated all day for this game. JP France will go for Houston, but no lines. And Lonte, anything much you can tell us about this?
Yeah, not much. I kind of would lean to Houston, though. I mean, obviously, it depends on who Texas throws. But, yeah, France, he hasn't been – I was high on him coming into the season, but he hasn't been that good. He's been inconsistent, especially at home for the most part. So I'll lean to Houston, but, I mean, can't make any real bets until we see what goes on with the pitcher. I mean, Texas, they got outscored 31-16 versus the Dodgers. So they got to come with a little bit of offense. And Houston struggled a bit offensively last week against Colorado and Oakland. But I think they may can get it going at home depending on who Texas throws.
Yeah, Texas needed that comeback, I think, last night. It was important. They looked like they were going to get swept by the Dodgers, came back and won that game 8-4. I got nothing on this other than JP France has been excellent. Houston, Munaf talked about this last night, that Houston do seem to have a good record against Texas. Texas have this mild inferiority complex when it comes to playing Astros. And Kyle Tucker's hitting really well. He's hitting .395 in his last 10 games, if you want to do anything with that. But that's me on this one, Scott.
Yeah, for me, I'm going to lean to Houston. Just taking the home team in what should be a close matchup. France, I don't think it's been that bad. His ERA is pretty solid at 3.13. Once again, it's tough without knowing who's going to pitch for Texas, but they kind of got shelled over the weekend. Houston was good against a really bad team. I mean, when you get to play Colorado and Oakland back-to-back, you're supposed to stack up a lot of wins. I'm going to lean to Houston. Could go either way. I don't have a line. I don't know who's pitching for one of the teams, so it's not, once again, going to be a strong opinion, but I'll lean to Houston at home.
Yeah, I don't think Houston looked good, though. Like, they didn't look good.
No, not really. Offensively, they did basically nothing.
They 3 of their wins were by one or 2 runs. So, I mean, against those opponents, I mean.
It's not great.
You know what there was? There was a lot of Oakland first five action, boys. Don't want to flog a dead horse, but I'm just putting it out there. 8 Tennyson first pitch is the Chicago Cubs at the Chicago White Sox. Kyle Hendricks for the Cubbies and Michael Kopech will go for the White Sox. Lines are -110 for the Cubs, -102 for the White Sox, and a total of 9. Scott, tight.
Yeah, I think it's warranted because I don't like either of these pitchers pretty much at all. I know Hendricks has been around for a while, but he pitches to contact, and that has come back to bite him recently. So I'm going to go with the over in this one. I see a lot of runs. I think Kopech is a pitcher that has been fine for the most part, but he allows a lot of home runs, giving up 19 home runs this year. His ERA at home is basically the exact same as on the road. He was good in his last start against the Mets, but before that, he was not exactly pitching too well. I like the Bellinger props in this game. I'll tell you that much. I think Bellinger's going to have a big day. I believe he's batting north of 400 in this month, but I'm going to lean to the over. According to the weather, it should result in a lot of run support with the actual altitude, etc. So I'm going to go with the over in this game. I don't trust either pitcher. They pitch to contact. I could see home runs, etc. Give me the over in this game. Maybe the Cubs team total over because I get to fade the White Sox bullpen as well, but I think the Cubs do well offensively.
Future Yankee Bellinger.
I doubt it, but
we're the favorite to get him, man.
Yeah, but the Cubs also held on to Ian Happ and Contreras last year for no reason, so I think they're going to keep him and just see what happens. But who knows?
That's fair.
Lonte, do you have anything on this one?
I'm with Scott, man. These teams are both bad. I would probably want to bet against. If we could bet a draw like they do in football, I would bet that both teams don't.
I think
score.
you can. I think you can do that.
Well, I mean, it's not possible though.
They do. You bet the game to go to extras.
Okay. I mean, I would just bet like if it was a football match, I would bet it for just 0-0.
I'm saying you could do it like it's a regular soccer match pre-extra time.
Are they good odds? I never seen it before. I never seen it.
That's around.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, but both I like the over. Both pitchers, like Scott mentioned, allowing a ton of contact. 8+ hits for Hendricks in 2 of his last 3. He's had exactly 5 Ks in his last 4 games. So I thought that was kind of neat. If he gets 5 today, he'll have 5 Ks in 5 straight games. He has allowed 6 home runs in his last 3 starts. Kopech's allowed a home run in his last 4 starts. So both of these guys are a bit erratic. He hasn't went deep. Kopech, that is, hasn't went deep in the games. Only pitched over 4 innings once in his last 5 starts. And if you want to get to that White Sox bullpen, got to give them a little bit more distance. But if they don't, I think the Cubs could have some success against that bullpen. So I lean to the Cubs. Love the over though.
Yeah, this was hard. It was quite ugly, wasn't it? You could make cases for all sorts of things going on here. My bet is going to be the White Sox in the first 5. I like Kopech. He's unreliable, but I do like him. I think there's more in there. And Hendricks hasn't got a great record at the White Sox. He's 5 starts on the road in Chicago, 6.75 ERA. And I'm going to call my shot here. First home run of the season for Tim Anderson comes tomorrow off Kyle Hendricks. There you go. So we can clip that and play that out on Wednesday when that one's hit. But yeah, White Sox first 5 for me. That bullpen is horrible, but I think they can get ahead of Hendricks. I think Hendricks will be hittable in this one.
Speaking of which, I want to give a shout out to Rizzo, who actually homered for the first time in like 30 something games yesterday.
Longest ever spell of his career without a home run. Something to do with me putting him in my fantasy team, Scott, I think, so you can have that one on me. The dry spell, I mean, not the actual home run. I'm responsible for the drought. 8:10 Eastern first pitch is the Cincinnati Reds and the Milwaukee Brewers. Andrew Abbott, left-handed pitcher for the Reds. Corbin Burns for the Brewers. Cincinnati are +136. The Brewers are -155. Total is set at 8. Really, really interesting game to handicap this one. Andrew Abbott is 5-2 on the year with a 2.10 ERA. There was just so much information that you could use here. Two of Abbott's last 3 starts came against the Brewers. One of them was bad, 4 1/3, 6 earned runs. And then the other one was okay, 6 innings, only 3 hits, 2 walks, 2 earned runs. And I think that's the more likely scenario here. Milwaukee and Burns, 9-5, 3.49 ERA. Burns has pitched 14 innings in his last 2 starts, scoreless. He stymied us 2 starts ago when they beat Graham Ashcraft 1-0, 1-0, sorry. The Brewers have also called up Sal Frelick. I watched a little bit on him today. He looks like a really good player. Does little bits of everything. And I did like his quote. They asked him what he was going to bring, and he said, a dirty uniform, which I think is a nice attitude. He's going to go and he's going to work hard, as Sal Frelick. And the Brewers did have a 29-inning bullpen scoreless streak snapped last night, which is pretty impressive as well. Cincinnati put Jonathan India on the trading block. They are in a 5-game winning streak, which comes on the back of a 6-game losing streak. Hashtag streaky. I think both pitchers will go well here. We saw that 1-0 game with Ashcraft. This is a pretty comparable game. Abbott and Ashcraft aren't a million miles away from each other. The 8's too high. I locked up the Brewers and the Reds under last night. I said to Moon I would go to the window and take under 4.5. This is a similar situation. 8's too high. I will take the under, Lonte.
Yeah, I'll agree with you on the under. I think if no matter who you like, I think you can make a decent case for either side. The Brewers are playing well as the Reds. Brewers have won 7 of the last 10. Probably should have won that series against Atlanta. I don't know if you guys watched that, but they were kind of unlucky and
the bullpen fell apart.
Yeah, that too. But they've owned Cincinnati. They've won 4 straight, and 3 of those were shutouts. So, I mean, they're pitching well. Abbott, he's only had 2 starts versus Milwaukee. 4 home runs, 7 earned runs combined. He got blown up in the first start, but he bounced back really well in the most recent meeting. Burns, back-to-back double-digit K games. He's looking back to form in 3 starts, 2 on the road against Cincinnati. 7 hits, 5 earned runs, 26 Ks. So I'm going to go with the better pitcher at home. Give me Burns and the under.
You did this to us in the Ashcraft start a couple of weeks ago, Lonte, the exact same thing, didn't you? Scott, you did, yeah. Pleased with yourself as well, weren't you?
Yeah, I was a little.
Yeah, I'm on the under.
You're on the under, Scott.
I can't really go against Burns at this point. He's been really, really good. He's back to Cy Young form, and Cincinnati can't touch him. You can argue maybe the 3rd time's the charm, so maybe they'll score 1 run against Burns this time. But
he saw your tweet,
I was just gonna say I can't go against him. Burns has been so damn good, and even Abbott's been good. So I think that you're looking at a couple ways to get there. We know Milwaukee's offense isn't great, so even if Abbott has mediocre stuff, Brewers might not capitalize enough. Burns might give up no runs. Like, it wouldn't shock me if once again he goes 6 innings scoreless, 10 strikeouts. We'll see. I'm on the under. There's a couple ways to get there.
9:40 Eastern first pitch, the Pittsburgh Pirates at the San Diego Padres. It is Dick Mountain Day. Pittsburgh have Rich Hill going to the mound. And for San Diego, left-handed pitcher Blake Snell. I haven't seen any lines on this because Pittsburgh were officially TBD. And Scott, you told me that Rich Hill was going. So, yeah, no lines on this. And Lonte, do you have much on this at all? Had you seen Rich Hill?
Yeah, I'm seeing Rich Hill and Blake Snell. I just don't see a line. I would assume that San Diego would be a hefty favorite.
I was going to say $2, 2 and change.
Yeah, I would say so. That sounds about right. I'll probably end up playing him on the run line. I'm interested to see what Snell, like, this might be his last start in San Diego. So he's pitched well, man. I mean, 0 earned run. Yeah, I think so.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
I think San Diego's too stubborn to blow it up.
I think they're going to get him and Soto. I think both are going to be gone.
That is a very hot take.
Yeah, I think both of them, man. I think they're going to blow it up. But Snell, 0 earned runs allowed last 4 home starts. Only allowed 2 hits versus Tampa, 1 hit versus the Mets, 2 hits versus the Cubs, double-digit Ks in 5 of his last 8, 2 earned runs or less in his last 11 starts. I mean, I don't think Pittsburgh's going to be able to touch him. Hill ERA has been almost 5 in his last 5 starts, 7+ hits allowed in 4 of his last 5, 4+ earned runs in 3 of his last 5. I mean, I don't want to buy into San Diego at all, but I got to take him here if the line is right on the 1.5. I know I said I didn't have much, Mal. Sorry, I did have much, I guess.
Well, I sat here last night talking to Moon, and it was clipped and put out on Twitter today, saying anyone who backs San Diego shouldn't be allowed money. I think I was maybe talking out of having just watched them get one hit, or was it 3 hits, sorry, by Alex Faedo and the rest of the Detroit Tigers. And then tonight I've gone for a San Diego Padres run line, so another day, another dollar, but it's lots of runs off Hill versus not money off Snell. It's not that complicated, Scott.
Yeah, I'm just going to go with the Padres' first 5 run line. There's really not much more to add. Snell has been on one of the greatest starting pitching runs I've ever seen, and that's saying a lot. I know he doesn't go much length in his starts, so there is a little bit of a caveat there because I know DeGrom and you want to go way back to Bob Gibson. There's been a lot of very good runs. This is just stupid how good Snell's been for over 2 months. I can't even fully comprehend it. So to read off the ERAs by month, his ERA so far in the month of June, 0.43. His ERA in the month, sorry, that was July. His ERA in the month of July, 0.43 in 4 starts. His ERA in the month of June, 0.87 ERA. I don't even know what I'm watching anymore. This is just insane how Snell can constantly go 5 innings, giving up no runs or 1 run. It's an insane run. I haven't seen anything like it. I'm going to go with the Padres' first 5 run line here. I know the Padres are a psycho team. I don't think Rich Hill's any good, but Blake Snell, I don't really know what I'm even watching. I'm going to go with Snell. I have faith in him to take care of business against the bad offense. Give me the Padres' first 5 run line.
You think they trade Snell? I mean, you think they trade Hader also? I'm sorry, but
I don't really know what San Diego's going to do, but I actually have the full numbers here. In Snell's last 11 starts, 63 innings pitched, a .71 ERA. What the hell is that?
No earned runs.
.71 ERA? Yeah. I'm just saying, it's crazy how good he's been. Are they going to trade Hader too? I don't know what San Diego's going to do. They spent a lot of money and their team stinks. Once again, they're the New York Mets of the West. I don't know what they're going to do. So they might blow it up. The Mets might blow it up. They should. I'm not sure if they're going to, but I hope Soto ends up in pinstripes. Hal won't pay for him, but I hope he does.
We'll see.
A .71 ERA in 11 starts for Snell. Snell was useless for the last year and a half.
He's all right. Like he's a nibbler, is Snell, but yeah, he's been fun. I don't know.
A year and a half though, he was terrible, and then he just became Bob Gibson. I don't know what happened.
Didn't he get shelled in the playoffs last year? Was it last year?
I'm trying to remember his playoff numbers last year.
Last year, I think he got shelled in the playoffs because I was on him.
Last year, the first month of the season, I was blindly fading him every start. Mm-hmm. The first month in April, he was terrible, and then he just randomly became he has an all-time great stretch. I don't know where it came from.
9:40 Eastern, first pitch is the St. Louis Cardinals at the Arizona Diamondbacks. Steven Matz, left-handed pitcher for St. Louis. Arizona officially TBD. We reckon it might be Zach Gallen. No lines, unfortunately, though. Scott, I think it was you spotted Gallen. So do you have much more on this one?
Yeah, for me, I'm going to go with Gallen on the run line. I'm not going to overthink this one. Gallen, we know, has been very good at home this season. His road numbers are brutal, which might be why he doesn't get the Cy Young, but he's at home. Meanwhile, you're looking at the Cardinals, and some people might have considered taking a stance on them being a Cinderella story candidate to make a run because they had won 8 of 10. And then they lost the last 3 games against the Cubs, and they're right back to where they started. So the Cardinals are not a good team. Nothing has really changed, and I'm going with the Diamondbacks run line. That's really the end of it.
Yeah, it's the same bet. I wish it was another team because the D-backs are struggling a little bit. They've lost 11 of 15. But St. Louis, everywhere you look at it, you don't want Mats. You don't want this team on the road. And like you said, they've started losing again. So it just adds up. I think the price might be okay, actually, because of the poorer form that Arizona have been in. And that makes me a little bit more tempted to take them. So, yeah, it was the same pick for me. D-backs on the run line, Lonte.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you guys. I really don't have much on this game, man. I don't have anything. So I'm just agreeing with you. Gallen at home is an autoplay for me.
Okay, 9:45 Eastern, first pitch is the penultimate game on the show between the Oakland Athletics and the San Francisco Giants. This is off the board, unfortunately, too. Oakland Athletics have Ken Waldichuk, left-handed pitcher, going to the Hills. San Francisco, we think it's Alex Cobb. Giants only finished their makeup game a couple of hours ago, so sorting their pitching out, heading out of Detroit to Oakland. Ken Waldichuk, 2-6, 6.75 ERA. He's a right old mess. Whether he starts or pitches in long relief, he gives up a little bit of everything as well. It's not one thing that gets to Waldichuk. It's just a combination of hits, walks, homers, you name it, he can do it. Now, the Giants are struggling. They've lost 5 games in a row. However,
6.
Oh, of course. Yeah, handicap this afternoon. Yeah, you can add that Detroit game onto that.
Who's counting?
Scott's counting by the time. If you wanted to get right spot at home to Oakland with Alex Cobb on the mound, is it? Alex Cobb has a 1.24 home ERA on the season, which is a 4-1 record as well. Just a great get right spot for them. The Giants on the run line is going to be the pick. They might only have to score 4 runs maybe to do this. So yeah, that's going to be my play, but I'm not going to win any prizes for it, Lonte.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think it's a great spot for San Francisco. We spoke about them being dominated 21-5. They got dominated by a team at home who doesn't have any type of home field advantage. They've been real bad offensively, 2 earned runs or less in 4 of the last 5. Cobb has been fine if it is him. 2 earned runs or less in 5 of his last 7. He's actually not pitched at home as much. 7 of his last 9 starts have been on the road. No earned runs allowed at home in 3 of his last 4 starts. So I think we get a great showing here from San Francisco. I like him on the run line. I like Oakland's team total to go under also.
Okay, Scott?
I'm going to take a spin here with Oakland. Give me Oakland money line in this one. I know that Cobb's numbers are solid at home, but they're very, very good at home. Simply put, I'm assuming the Giants are going to be laying what? Like 210, 220 maybe in this game? 190 as a floor?
Yeah, I was going to say 190, yeah.
I'm not laying $2 at the team that's lost 6 straight. It's just not going to happen. So I'm going to take Oakland. Maybe Oakland plus 1.5 because San Francisco might not have to bat in the bottom of the 9th. But I'm not going to be taking a team that's lost 6 straight laying this price. It's a really bad scheduling spot for the Giants as well because they had a series over the weekend, then a makeup game in Detroit, and now they're flying back to the West Coast. It's a terrible scheduling spot. So with that being said, I'm going to lean to Oakland. I know Waldichuk's really bad. I'm aware of that. He's not good at all. But San Francisco can't really hit. And once again, with this scheduling spot and what the price should be, I think San Francisco is going to be overvalued because of the actual opponent here, but not based on current form. I'm not laying $2 of the team that's lost this many games in a row. Give me a spin with Oakland. They'll find a way.
Funnily enough, Scott, when I first looked at this game, I think if it was any other combination of the starting pitchers, I wanted to take Oakland. I was like, right, come on, this is a chance here. The Giants are losing. It's a bad spot for them, travel spot, etc. And then I saw the names, and it was just the combination of Waldichuk and Cobb, kind of any other 2 names, and I might have gone for an Oakland. I probably would have gone Oakland first 5, let's be honest. But I could have done it, but I just couldn't get there with you. But I like it, Scott, because my instinct was, let's see if we can get Oakland on board. But I wasn't as brave as you, so yeah, good luck with that one. Last game, 10-10, Cowboy time. Eastern first pitch is the Toronto Blue Jays versus the LA Dodgers. Chris Bassett for Toronto and Julio Urias, left-handed pitcher for the Dodgers. Plus 142 on the Blue Jays. Minus 155 on the Dodgers. Total of 9. Lonte, round us out.
Yeah, so I don't want to lay that price with Urias. I know the Dodgers have looked extremely well this last week. We mentioned the margin that they won by in Texas. I'm going to go with the over, and I'm going to go with the Dodgers team total over. They've scored 5+ in 4 of the last 5, double digits in 3 of those. They've won 7 of their last 10 against solid competition at that. Especially, like, it was really impressive what they did to Texas. And if it wasn't for that comeback, it would have been even more impressive. Urias, 2 earned runs or less in his last 3 home starts. He hasn't been too good since his return, a bit inconsistent. But 3 of his 4 starts were on the road, so he's going to pitch better at home. I kind of just don't want to lay that big of a number with Urias and him being kind of a wild card. So I love the over here. I think both offenses can have some success. So give me over and the team total over for the Dodgers.
Okay, so lots of runs for the Dodgers here, Scott.
Yeah, I'm going to lean to the Dodgers, like minus 150. Both pitchers kind of similar. Really good at home, really bad on the road. And luckily for Urias, he's at home. So I'll go with Urias here. You're looking at the numbers for Bassett on the road. Once again, they're not great. And I do think that the Dodgers offensively have woken up a little bit. I know Martinez got scratched from, I believe it was yesterday's game. So I am curious if he's going to be available, or maybe it's tonight's game. I'm trying to remember. The Dodgers play tonight? I'm trying to remember if they play tonight. They do. So I believe Martinez got scratched from Monday's game. So I am curious if he'll be available for the game tomorrow. So I kind of want to wait and see on that one. But I'll back the pitcher that's good at home against the pitcher that's bad on the road. So I'll lean to the Dodgers to get it done.
I've gone the other way. I couldn't. The first thing Lonte said was he didn't want to lay this price with Urias, and I agree. I think he's been rocked too many times to be this short a favourite, minus 155. Chris Bassett's been okay. I mean, minimum or sort of maximum 3 earned runs on the road. Toronto are a psycho team, a little bit like San Diego, but they'll turn up every now and again. And I think I like Bassett. Bassett can go well. Toronto hit lefties, not too bad either. So I think at plus 142, I haven't taken Toronto very often this season, but I'm going to give them a chance here at a half decent price to see if they can cause Urias some more trouble. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we did it. We got to the end of the card. Scott, I think you should lead us off with your lock and dog picks for this evening.
All right. So for my lock on this one, I was hoping I'd have a line available, but I don't. I only have the full game number. I can insinuate, though, so I'm just going to insinuate. I'm going to go with the Yankees' first 5 team total over. Team total under, sorry. At what I'm assuming is going to be 2.5. Yankees can never hit Verlander, ever, and I think that Verlander will pitch well. I'm not going to overreact to the Yankees performing well over the weekend against Kansas City. I think Verlander is going to, once again, shut down the Yankees. Going to be a low-scoring game in general, but I do think that the Yankees' first 5 team total under 2.5 against Verlander is going to be a solid play. So I'm going to go with that as my lock. And for my dog, I'm going to go with the Guardians run line at plus 115. I mentioned Greinke's record, or I should say the team's record in the starts. I believe they're 4-17. Savali's been very good, and even in the last start that Greinke had against the Guardians, he didn't pitch well. He gave up 11 hits. He just managed to get out of trouble. Savali's been solid. He was very good against the Royals' last start against them. So for me, I'm going to go with the Guardians on the run line at plus 115 as my dog.
Okay, love that, Scott. Thank you. Lonte?
Yeah, so I'm going to add on to what Scott said about I think it was his lock with the team total. Did you go team total under?
I went first 5 team total under on the Yankees.
Yes. Yeah,
probably 2.5.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the full game under. I think I see, 8.5? Do you see 8.5?
I see 8.5 minus 105. So it actually might cross a 9 if you wait a little bit longer.
Yeah, but just for show purposes, I'll take the 8.5. I think both offenses are going to struggle. Scott, you mentioned it with Verlander having success against the Yankees. And again, the Mets are hitting 194 in their last 10. German, I mean, if he gets the right sticky stuff, he'll be fine against that lineup. I think he'll be able to perform 9 Ks in 3 of his last 4 starts. Verlander, 6 innings pitched. He only allowed 3 hits and an earned run in his start against it's the second start. I mean, his second game in the 2-game series back in June. And that series, that game that he pitched with under had 4 runs scored, and I think the 7th or 8th inning to put it out of reach. But yeah, I like the Mets and the Yankees to go under here. I could see a 2-1, 3-2 type of game. So I like that as my lock. As my dog, I'm gonna go with Cleveland. Oh no, I'm sorry, you went with Cleveland. I'm gonna go with Milwaukee minus 1.5 at plus 132 on the run line. First team to 2 wins. I think Milwaukee can get to 2 first. So give me Milwaukee and Corbin Burns, who's back in Cy Young form after reading Scott's tweet about him being trash along with Sandy.
Lonte's gone back to Corbin Burns again. Okay, my look. I wanted to do something with the Mets and the Yankees on the under, but we can't go a 3-way on the look. I'll take over in Baltimore, Philadelphia, over 9.5. Baltimore can score 4 or 5 runs every night. Really good offense, absolutely firing at the minute. Kyle Gibson will give up the same amount. So there's 10. Bosh, over 9.5. And for my dog, I didn't have many, unfortunately. I normally have 3 or 4 dogs on the card to choose from, but not tonight. So we go with Toronto, the last play on the card here, plus 142. I think they get to a race, and Bassett has been pitching well. So plus 142. Toronto have got a lot of good players in that team. That's a big price for a team who any one night could go and score 10 runs. So I will take the Blue Jays there. And, boys, we did it. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Lonte. Thank you, everyone who joined us in the comments. Really appreciate it. If you haven't done so, you should give it a go or get across to the YouTube channel every night and say hello. Scott, anything happening? You a bit bereft of tennis at the minute, or is there anything that you can get your teeth into?
I'm going to have a show later tonight. The scheduling is going to be really annoying because you have 2 tournaments in Europe and then you have 1 in America. So I'm going to have to wait for those lines to end, and that's going to be late, so that's going to be really annoying. But I'll have an episode at some point tonight. I had 1 tennis play today, which was nice, so
nice.
Could have been worse there. But, yeah, mostly going to be covering some tennis throughout the week and hoping that you get a low-scoring game in the Yankee game tomorrow. So,
Lonte, what you up to?
Yeah, I'm just working on college football stuff, so nothing exciting. Just college football, NFL stuff. So I'll be working on that and probably telling you guys picks for the events coming up, especially Scott.
Yes, good choice. Women's World Cup for me tonight, and then working on the Premier League as well. So USA play on Friday, I think. Canada play over the weekend. England play. All the big teams will be covered in the show we're going to record in about 10 minutes' time, and that'll be out overnight.
What were your thoughts on that, by the way? 1-0? Really?
England were awful. I really wanted to fade them because I didn't fancy them at all. But I just couldn't fade them in that spot, any other team. And I should have done. I should have had the courage of my conviction, Scott. But they've been playing people out of position. I think they'll change it round. I think they'll go better next time. But no, Haiti were outstanding. I'll get a little window. Haiti are 4-1 to beat China on Friday, which is an incredible price because China are bang average. Haiti wasn't a fluke performance. Haiti were really good. There's a 4-1 dog. Haiti are live on Friday. So there's a little window into the Women's World Cup show coming up. We're throwing out 4-1 winners like confetti. Cheers, everybody. Good luck with all your bets between now and tomorrow when we will be back. Until then, we will see you down the road. Cheers.